Hello, everybody. The few folks that are here already, I'm still trying to get things set up, but I'll be right with you. You guys are welcome to drop in the chat box your name. We'll get started here in just a few moments. Can you guys hear me all right? Got any sound? Just type something there in the chat box if you can. Can you guys hear me? Sound check. Can you guys hear me? Got any sound? Any sound? Anybody can hear me? Sound check. All right, I'll test it on my second laptop. Let's see over here. Sound check? Cool. I got sound on my side. So, guys, we are at the top of the hour. I see that there are a few attendees that have joined us already, and we'll go ahead and give it a couple minutes for a few other folks to join. As you can see here, I'm still in the process of trying to get things set up. I've had a pretty hectic morning trying to prepare for this webinar, and see here. Hey, Judy and Steve, can you guys hear me okay? Just want to make sure. There's you should be able to see the chat box to the right. Okay, cool. Thank you, Judy. We are going to get started here in just a minute or two. I'm not going to have you guys waiting for several other people that may or may not join. But I do want to give it another minute or so, and we'll definitely get going. And I will do my best to provide you guys some value today. I'll go ahead and keep talking while we're waiting on a few other people to join, I guess, and try to explain some of the hardships we've had today. And going back 11:30, just a couple of hours ago, I honestly thought, hello, how you doing, Rui? I thought I was going to have to cancel this webinar, and I didn't want to do that. And so I've spent the last 3 hours trying to figure out a workaround to be able to give you guys the training that I want to give you guys today. And then here about 20, 30 minutes ago, it looked like everything was a go again. And then the last 10 minutes, I just realized it's not. However, with all that being said, I'm going to digress just a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and I'll tell you what's going on, guys. It's going to limit what I really wanted to do today for you, but we will get there. So what I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick. And let me do this. And then we can do. I'll also say too, guys, if at any point you want to speak instead of type, you are welcome. Up in the very top right, there is a microphone and camera on off. You're welcome to click on either one of those or both if you would like and speak. So right now you're seeing an infinity screen, but I'm about to share my screen with you and you'll see something a little different. So right now you're seeing just a little webinar or a little PowerPoint slide that I created. And essentially I was trying to prepare this morning and get everything in line. and that's when an issue popped up that I had to start addressing. But nevertheless, welcome you guys to the webinar. I wanted to say that any engagement you guys can provide, whether it's questions there in the chat box and or turning on a mic and talking, you're certainly welcome to. And so the more engagement, the more interaction we get, the more question and answer type thing, I think this will go even better. Now, so with that being said, I do encourage you guys to hit the chat box up as much as you can, or talk, whatever. Let me go ahead and dive right into this because we've got some stuff going on. And you see there what I have is as always, I always talk about documentation beats conversation. And I don't want to spend any time at all going over nonsense, right? I want to dive right on into what I got for you guys today. But I also, part of what I'm doing is showing you guys the results of what Jarvee, the software tool we're going to go over today, has gotten for me. And let me go ahead and share a different screen with you guys. I mean, this is the GoFounders back office, of course. You hide that. I may have to re-log in. It's been, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes or so. And so you can see, I think my last video, I think we had completed 100 invitees over the past basically 60 days or so, maybe 80 days. I have to go back and look exactly, but and you'll see that was, I think that was 128, and now we're up to 141. So just in the last few days since that last video, A, we've gotten another founder, and then B, you see that there just continues to get invitees coming into the system pretty much on autopilot. And that's because of the Jarvee system. I haven't used the MLM gateway at all. And long story short, I just wanted to show you that. And while I'm here, I did have one person in the On Passive, Vision Team Facebook group here ask me a question about what I thought of Ash's of the last webinar. And I can't even find what post that question was in again, but I did want to respond. And so I'll spend 2 seconds and do it right here. I thought the last webinar was awesome. I thought it was great in terms of providing the founders more insight into Ash's background and to some of his other, I don't know, I guess friends or family or whomever, that are founders in this company that he had worked with previously. And so in terms of getting to know Ash better, getting to know his story better, getting to understand and learn some from folks that have known him for a while, in that sense, I thought the last webinar was awesome. For the sense of it being an opportunity webinar for us to bring invitees to, not so much. I think there's two different purposes to be served there, right? And so I think as we move on, we'll be able to separate those two, where we have really more opportunity presentations that could be 15, 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes long, and then there'll be other times where we have training webinars. And other types of webinars. And so that's my answer to what I thought of the last webinar that the company put on, but certainly excited about everything else. So let me come back to, before we get started, guys, I really want there to be some interaction. And so I guess, do you guys have any questions at all? And I want to say this also, that as I start going through this, at any point in time that you have a question, please feel free to interrupt me, and we will, well, it's not necessarily interrupting me. I didn't mean to say it like that, but go ahead and stop me, and then we can address your questions right then and there at that point in time. Because, like I said, there's nothing scripted here. This is just all off of my chest here, out of my heart. And so you can stop me at any point in time, and then I'll try to get back on track the best I can. So on to Jarvee. Let me tell you guys what happened today. Well, before I do that, let me show you this real quick. When it comes to Jarvee and being completely automated, there is some setup time, right? An hour, maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours that you'll really mess with the setup. Now, when it comes to just doing Facebook, that's probably 30 or 45 minutes of a setup. When it comes to setting up the Instagram and the Twitter and Facebook, when you're trying to do it all, then it's a little more cumbersome, and then it takes, an hour and a half or 2 hours, right? But once you do that initial setup, then there's very little daily or weekly maintenance that you have to go do to it. And what I mean by that is you just have to check it every now and again just to make sure it's all working right. And you will get an email every day that sends you, whatever errors or whatever is happening with the software. And so you get a notification every day to tell you what's going on. And then you can also go in there and fix that and or do nothing. So I can tell you that I tried to log into it earlier today. I was in it last night and trying to prepare for this. But prior to that, Jarvee's been running great for me for the last 2 or 3 weeks since I was in Seattle last. And I haven't gotten in there to do anything. So what I do is, the reason I opened up this chat thing here is to show you. You don't see any right now because I've had issues for the last 3 hours, which we'll talk about here in a minute. Let me see, where are they? Let me just close that out. Maybe you can open it back up again. I know I'm scrolling fast, but wow, I don't know what's going on. They're already down to February 22nd. That makes no sense. Oh, maybe it's this one. Yes, sorry, I was just on the wrong tab there. So we all get message notifications when people message us, or we post or whatever. And so you'll see here as I scroll down, this is Jarvee, notifying me that they posted. And so you'll see here, this was this morning, 5 hours ago is when it kicked in this morning. And then, it just started posting and posting and posting and posting and posting. Wasn't so as long. My point behind this is what I'm getting at here is, as long as I see this happening every day, I don't get into Jarvee for anything. As long as I'm seeing that it's posting, I'm good. I don't need to get into it. Now, if I notice that if something happens, a day goes by and it dawns on me, hey, I didn't see any of these messages today, well, then that will kind of trigger me to go ahead and log into Jarvee and see what the holdup is, what's going on. And so that's tip number 1 to give you guys there. And so let me, that's pretty much it for that tip. Let me tell you guys what happened this morning. So let me tell you what happened at 11:30 this morning, because that's about the time it stopped working. So from a previous video, I'm not sure if you guys have watched that or not. However, I have Jarvee set up on a virtual private server that happens to be one of my local business clients. He pays for that server. He also pays for Jarvee, and he pays for the proxies because we use it for his business. And actually, he's got a couple of businesses, so we use it for a couple of his businesses. And then I also was able to kind of piggyback along that on this virtual private server and also with Jarvee and everything else. And so, matter of fact, I use Jarvee more for my stuff than I do his stuff at this point. But nevertheless, it's something that he pays for, or did until 2 days ago, right? So his credit card was declined 2 days ago for the VPS, the virtual private server. And so at 11:30 today, boom, they shut it down. They kicked it out. And so at that point, that was right about the same time I'd spent time preparing for the webinar and on other aspects of it, but that was right about the same time I wanted to start logging in and getting some new updates and new statistics and new whatever for today and to do today's webinar. And of course, I couldn't get into my virtual private server. I was locked out. And so at that point, that's when I really considered kind of, oh gosh, how am I going to do this training if I can't even log into the software, right? And so I don't know, it's kind of messed up. And so I stopped preparing for this and then started trying to get access to my server. Well, 2.5 hours later, I'm trying to make the payment myself, trying to do all kinds of things just to get in there. I was still having issues. I finally got, support to get on a Skype call with me. We thought we were going to get it all worked out. They were all apologetic, saying, hey, sorry, man, let's get you set up so you can do your webinar. Life would be good for you, and yada, yada, yada. All right. Well, I get access to the virtual private server again, and it looks like it was wiped. This isn't my server, and that's access to it there, but you don't see any of my files, any of my folders. You don't see Jarvee. Sorry, I had to take a drink real quick. So I don't know. I can tell you that after this webinar, I'm going to get back with the folks that have the virtual private server to see if there's a way to capture or I don't know what I'm even trying to say, whatever the terminology is. I need to get my server, my information, my data, my stuff back. And if not, well, then I guess I lost it. And which will kind of suck, because there was what I intended on doing. Once I actually got in there, I do have a little bit of stuff before, but once I actually get in there, then I was going to, instead of you know, kind of hemming and hawing around and saying you got to click this and click that. I was simply going to log into it and show you the exact settings that I use for what I do, and then say, look, guys, just copy this. Just here, I've got that box checked. I've got this setting here. That was my intent, was to just let you guys copy the exact settings that I have, with the foreknowledge of letting you guys know that you need to start a little bit slower than what I've been doing, because I've been using the software now for three or 4 months. And anyway, so that's explaining the problem, right? I don't want to go too much further into that, so I don't really have I don't have the Jarvee system to show you there that I have any data in. And so in preparation for trying to show you guys this, I did download a free version of it on this particular PC versus, you know, having it on my virtual private server. So I will be able to show you guys some things. It's just not going to be everything that I really wanted it to be. And for that, I apologize. I can tell you that that's what I wanted, was your settings. Absolutely, man. I as soon as I get access to it again, I will absolutely take screenshots, do another webinar, whatever, because I'll be happy to share those guys with you. I can't access it right now. And then once I do get access, I will share it. And if I don't, well, then we'll have to set it up, and I'll share that with you anyway. But let me go ahead and look over here real quick and read some comments. I have Oracle VirtualBox installed on my computer. Awesome. That's what I was waiting for. Okay, cool. Thanks, guys. Let me go ahead and go back to my PowerPoint, because I had a couple of points on here I wanted to look at. Okay, so I did talk about the virtual private server. And this is, I guess I was debating on this to begin with, right? I certainly did not expect to lose my VPS today. But what I wanted to do, and I will eventually, and I'm going to do this now anyway, regardless. I know that that business owner pays $97 a month for that VPS. Arvin, can you say here in your comments here that you use the Oracle VM VirtualBox installed on your computer? What do you mind me asking me? What do you pay a month for that? And I know there's many virtual private servers out there. And so let me backtrack just a little bit too, guys, and tell you why you need a virtual private server for Jarvee. Because Jarvee is a software that runs 24/7, 365, and it has to be on a machine that's on in order to run 24/7, 365. Now, you can install it on just a laptop or a desktop. It'll function perfectly okay on those. You just either A, have to leave the machine on all the time, or B, Jarvee's not going to run all the time, right? It'll run when your machine is on, basically. And so if you put it on a virtual private server, it says, I pay nothing. Interesting, my man. I'm curious about that too. So heck, we may need to get Arvin on here to give us a training on how to get a free virtual private server through Oracle. However, that's what I wanted to talk to you about here too. And that was one of the things I wanted to mention, is that Jarvee recommends, let me go ahead and I'm going to get into this free version of Jarvee real quick. I'm going to start sharing my screen with it. And let me backtrack a little bit too, guys. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the map, and 3 hours of thinking I was going to get prepared and then not is kind of throwing me off track here. But let me also say this, that I still pay $19.95 a month for Jarvee. However, going through this free trial process, I noticed that the options, the least expensive option now is $29 a month. And so I don't know when they had their price change, but it's every bit. You'll see right here for me too. On my other account, it says, well, actually, they don't even show this on my other account for some reason, because I was looking for that today. Or I'm sorry, I was looking for that last night when I realized that they started charging $29.95 for Jarvee now. Anyway, it's $1 a day, and you're still going to need those proxies, most likely. But well worth it, guys. I can tell you that in preparation for this, I went back and watched some of the Jarvee tutorial videos, and man, this software does a lot of stuff that I'm not using it for. I'm probably only using it about 5% of what it will do. And after going back and watching some of the tutorials, I'm definitely going to start using it for more than what I currently am. And really, I'm just talking about Facebook at this point. I have and do use Jarvee for Twitter and Instagram, and I'll share the settings I have for those as well. But there's a few other things we have to talk about with that. Really, this training is really just for Facebook. But let me here is where you find the information on the free virtual private server within Jarvee. So if you come down to my account here, there is account information, the second tab over here, and then recommended resources. If you come into recommended resources, you'll see down here where they recommend the proxies and where they recommend the free VPS. Now, it changed about a week or so. Thank you, Rory. Yeah, it changed about a week or so ago. That's not good at all. Who likes paying more money for something that was just 20 bucks last month and now it's 30 bucks, right? So let me go and, since we're talking about virtual private servers, let me go into that real quick. And so let me say this. They do recommend a server there that's paid. I hadn't looked into that at all, but what this is right here is Jarvee in their free virtual private server recommendation is essentially recommending using Amazon AWS services. And I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with Amazon and the services they provide for internet use. And that's not saying it right. That's just what I came up with. But Amazon does a tremendous amount of stuff with internet stuff, whether it's storage or providing servers, providing emails, just do all kinds of stuff. And so I'm not even sure what the account is called. We're going to look it up here real quick. I'll log into mine. But my point behind this whole thing, especially with the issue that I just had this morning with my virtual private server, I'm going to set up one on Amazon here, one of their free ones, and go through that entire process. I know that sometimes setting up some of the services through Amazon can be cumbersome and difficult and challenging. And so I want to do a separate video for that. I need to go through it once myself in order to be able to show you guys how to do it, right? And so I want to go ahead and set up a free virtual private server with Amazon in order to run Jarvee on it, because I am not going to let whether this business owner pays for that VPS or not affect my business ever again, right? And so one of the things I'm going to be doing is setting up a virtual private server here on Amazon. I'm definitely interested in what Arvin has going on over here with the Oracle stuff. And so definitely would like to get some more information on that as well. And the reason I'd like to be able to get a free virtual private server if possible, because why pay for it if there are free options out there that work? Now, I will say that Amazon will only provide you a free server for 12 months. And then after that, they start charging you something for it. But it's my experience with using Amazon services is they are super, super inexpensive. Like my Amazon bill is typically, I don't know, 25 cents, 50 cents a month for everything that I currently do with Amazon, which isn't a lot, but it's amazing how inexpensive it really is. And so long story short is I don't know all the details yet about this, but I am going to be going through it myself. And so once I do, I will either hold another webinar to show you guys about it, and or I'll just make a tutorial video and show how to set it up. So let me get off of that. Let me come back to, Jarvee is what I was trying to find. While we're here on this tab, let me go ahead and talk about the proxies, right? The recommended proxies. Now, I've used proxy services in the past for many different things. And I actually owned proxies from another provider when I started using Jarvee. But I went ahead and went through high proxies after trying to use my previous ones and having a difficult time setting them up. And so that was one of the things that I wanted to be able to show you guys too today inside of my current account, was to be able to show you exactly how those are set up. And I was kind of playing around with that just a moment ago too, but it's not, I can tell you, I'm going to go and click on the proxy tab here. And you see I still had an error setting it up. What I'm familiar with, or what I'm used to doing when I set up my proxies, is setting up the IP address and a port address. And that usually works just fine. But I can tell you, using the high proxy and using Jarvee, it's set up a little bit differently. And that's why I wanted to be able to show you guys today how to set up your proxies. Now, with me not being able to get into my account, I'm not exactly remembering how to do it. Keep in mind, remember guys, this stuff is automated. I set Jarvee up 90 days ago, 120 days ago, so I don't really remember exactly how to do it. And you can see I was having issues with it. But I will log into high proxy here in just a moment and show you at least what I do remember. And and the important part that will probably help you figure it out even before I'm able to come in here and show you. So, and I would recommend high proxies just because it's part of what Jarvee recommended. It's like, I don't know, 10 or 11 bucks a month. You get five proxies, which is more than enough. Go ahead and log in real quick. And so what I wanted to show you guys here within high proxies is when I first signed up for their services, it wasn't intuitive where to find the proxies, right? Once you got signed up, and I was like, man, where is everything? But it's right here under services. Come down here to my proxies. And, you know, I should probably blur these out, guys. Please don't abuse my proxies. But the important part is what I'm trying to get at is what I was trying to do is capture the IP address and the port and then enter that into the software, and it didn't work for me. You have to come down here and do the IP authentication. And unfortunately, I was trying to remember exactly how I did that when I was activating it in Jarvee, and I don't. I will tell you that what I ended up having to do in order to sort it out was doing a support ticket with high proxy, and within 24 hours they had it all sorted out and told me exactly how to do it. So if I'm slowing it down, then please just use high proxy support, and they will get you lined out in no time at all. Just tell them you're using it for Jarvee, tell them this is what you're doing, and they'll give you the exact instructions you need in no time at all. So let me get out of that. Okay, so let me ask you guys a question real quick. I'm going to go ahead and read this real quick. Okay, so that was just Rui's last comment. So how many folks do we have here who have already purchased Jarvee? I know you're seeing Affinity a screen here again too real quick. I was just trying to see. So you see there's 5 attendees, guys. So any of you guys care to share it? Have you guys already purchased Jarvee? Are you guys in the process of trying to set it up? He says, I have access to it. All right, Rory, cool. Well, I'm going to give you guys a bonus today, certainly for the ones of you guys who already have access to it. Anybody else have access to it? Not used it yet, however. Okay, cool. Man, I really wish I could give you the Facebook stuff today. We're going to go through it here in just a little bit, guys. It's not too terribly hard, and I'm going to do my best to walk you through how to set it up. I just really wish I could refer back to my settings. And it's probably, after going through the tutorial videos again, it's probably not too tough with just Facebook. It's to Twitter and the Instagram, the setup is really challenging. But let me go ahead, let me share my screen again. Okay, and I'm going to come back into account, come back into recommended resources, and then right here, guys, is video tutorials. So in addition to finding it on their website, sorry, wrong tab. In addition to finding it on their website, and you can see here, guys, here's the starter package here, which these 10 accounts is more than enough. But up here on their website too, there's tutorials. And so in preparation for this, like I said, it's been, 3 or 4 months since I watched these and set it up. And so I wanted to, try to prepare the best I could for today's call. I will say that video number 1, video number 2, video number 3 you definitely need to watch all of those. Number 4 is really about Twitter and Instagram tools. And then you need to watch 5 and 6 as well. 7, not so much. But anyway, if you'll just 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 will get you lined out on Facebook. Quite honestly, all these videos are between 4 minutes and 8 minutes. I suggest you watch them all, but the ones I just called out will definitely get you lined out within Facebook. So let me go ahead and dive into this, guys. I'm sorry that it's kind of taking so long. Just now learning about it. Cool, James. Well, I'll tell you what I did do. Unfortunately, like I said, I couldn't log into it. Man, I hate that. But I did take a screenshot last night because I knew on today's webinar that I wouldn't be able to show you what am I trying to say? I wouldn't be able to show you statistics for today's Jarvee posting at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Usually by 6 or usually by maybe 8 o'clock at night, then I can really see the day's action. And so right here, I'm opening up a picture of a screenshot of what I took last night from inside that account that I had access to until earlier today. But you'll see here, this is a screenshot of inside the campaign tab, and I'm about to dive into all that, guys. But anyway, you'll see right here, and this is for James' benefit, and maybe you've seen a few of those other videos, but you'll see yesterday, and this is, here is a screenshot, 9:19 last night, 3:22, that it had posted in, 64, 78, that's a Twitter account, so 78, 88, 96, and so I don't know, it's like 140 Facebook groups, right? So that right there was, James, the reason I brought this up is to show you, James, this is what I do with Jarvee. I posted in 140 Facebook groups, and I didn't do it, Jarvee did it. It didn't take me a second at all yesterday, but it posted in 140 Facebook groups for me. And you'll see, look at the numbers next to that. Okay. Look at all these lifetimes posts. This is in the last 3 or 4 months. Look at all those posts. And so this is an important thing, guys, right here. This is for any of you guys who have really watched a lot of the videos I put there in the back office. I talk about the multi-tier approach, right? Having the automation from on passive do all it can, and then we go out and do all that we can to build our business as well. And so there's paid traffic and there's free traffic. Now I realize Jarvee's a paid program, and it's costing me about $30 a month, or the business owner about $30 a month. So it's inexpensive, right? Free traffic, if that makes any sense. But look at all those. Look at I don't know how many there are. 2,000. That's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that's like, I don't know. That's 13,000 posts, right, in the last 4 months. And my point behind that is you would never, ever be able to do that manually, ever. I mean, you just couldn't do it. I mean, this right here is posted in 3 different Facebook accounts, and over the last, 90, 120 days, what did we just say? 12, 13,000 posts. So look, guys, in order to do something like that, you have to automate it, and that's what Jarvee does. Now, you can look at the statistics within my back office of whether it's worth it or not. And what I mean by that is, and this is what we showed a minute ago, sorry, I'm kind of all over the map here, guys. All these results you see right here are from Jarvee and MLM Gateway, but really I've only used Jarvee I haven't used MLM Gateway since my first video a while back. So here's what you've got to ask yourself. Is if you can automate doing those posts over several months and spending $30 a month to do it, is it worth the cost of it for such, in my opinion, such little results? Meaning I've only got 141 invitees. And since I've started using it, I've only gotten another 8 or 9 founders. And so to me, that's nowhere near the goal, the number that I want to hit, right? And so I'm not having I'm not having crazy results with it, but I'm having some results with it. And so then it becomes, is it worth the investment to do that? And in my opinion, yes. And what I mean by that is, so between Jarvee and the proxies, right, it's $30 a month for what the business owner pays. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I got into that. There's really not. It's just Facebook. I got Jarvee posting it. Of course, I've made some videos, and they've given us the graphics. But so for the last, say 120 days, that's cost me $120, right? Of the business owner, $120, and to get basically 9 new founders. So in that context, it's absolutely worth it, right? We all know that a founder spot costs $97 for one, and I've got 9 for basically $120. So is it worth it? Yes. Is it a slow process? Yes. Is it as good as paid advertising is going to be? No. But it's still something that we should all incorporate into our business because it gets results. So let me get off that soapbox and tell you, I thought that was important simply because it I want to come back to the point of this right here, guys. You would never be able to manually do that. And if you're going to even attempt to manually post that many times, it's not worth it. It's not worth your time at that point. So that's why you got to automate that. And then at that point, then it can start making sense to do it. So sorry, guys. I know we're kind of getting off on a bunch of different stuff here. I'm sure you guys just want to tell me how to set it up. Okay. So the reason I went into all of that was for various reasons, but the last thing we were talking about was the video tutorials, guys. I'm not going to be able to explain how to set up Jarvee any better than they do, right? You've got to spend an hour, watch those tutorial videos, and that will explain it far better than I ever can. However, I'm going to go ahead and give you some tips and tricks and pointers or whatever you want to call on what I've learned from using it over the last several months. And go ahead and to whatever degree I can kind of set it up. And so we're going to go ahead and dive into that right now. Before we do, you guys got any questions? Facebook message on Oracle link, so you can take a look at that. Awesome. Arvin, thank you. Appreciate that, sir. So the tutorial, that very first tutorial video starts here and goes down the menu here on the left and explains exactly what each one of these is for. And that's why you really need to watch the tutorial video. And so I'm going to go ahead and dive in here, and to whatever degree I can, because keep in mind this is a free trial account at this point that I'm logged into. And you can see in my main account, it has my name up here. This one has Help My Local Business, which is the local business agency that I've ran for a few years. And so that counts under that. But anyway, so let me just get into it, guys. One of the very first things you're going to need to do, well, I guess before I go, let me go to this menu across the top. Statistics, you can check in here. There's nothing to show right now, right? There's a little cool graph for you. What's new? Every now and again, they'll have some updates. This is just kind of like a change log, exactly. Contact support, really what I wanted to show you is right here. If you ever need a contact support and notifications, there's notifications in here, whether there's an error report. Every day you get an email, whether there's an error or not, it will give you an email. And so those come in here as well. So let me come into here and just start going down the left side here. Social profiles. This is where you can add your social profiles. And so you simply do that by clicking on Add Profile here, right? And these are the platforms that it currently works with: Facebook, Google+, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Tumblr, Instagram, YouTube, and Core. I've never heard of that one. I heard Google+ is going away, not from this software, but I heard Google's getting rid of it. Not sure if that's true, but anyway. So right now I currently use it for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Or I've got stuff set up to use Instagram and Twitter. I'm just not really effectively using it right now, which I'm going to in the near future. And then YouTube is something that's relatively new that I'm going to explore using as well too. But so anyway, we're all on Facebook right now, and let me basically it's like anything else. It's really simple. Just click on it. Now it may or may not allow me to sync my personal account with it because I've already got Jarvee synced with my account. But it's pretty simple, right? You just click on that setting, you enter in your username and password for Facebook, and then you hit verify account right here. And it will, it spins, a little timer will spin for 30 seconds or whatever, and eventually it will verify your account. And so that's pretty straightforward. No issues at all. You're able to put it. The beauty about Jarvee is you're able to do more than one account, right? So put some thought into how you name your account, right? I mean, Facebook account 1, 2, 3, 4 is fine, but you can name it whatever you want. You put a little description in here. If you want to put a tag, you can. So whatever in here makes sense, go ahead and do it. And let me scroll down here too to show these advanced profile settings. And okay, cool. We can talk about these real quick. So guys, this is really where it was kind of going to be really beneficial for me to just be able to show you my settings. And so, but I'll go through it real quick. Text, no. Enable, find, replace, tokens, no. Clickable image post servers, no. Enable night mode. So these are some general, like, overall settings, and I guess this is probably as good a point as any to get into some of the best practices with Facebook. And you see here, one of the things you got to do is send maximum number of posts per day. The reason that is because you can't just start getting, especially when you're new. When you guys first start using this software, I would recommend posting in just, I don't know, 3 or 4 groups a day, 3 or 4 posts a day. And, a couple days later, increase that to 8 or 9 groups and 8 or 9 posts a day or whatever. And just slowly over the next 30 days or so, slowly work it up to where you are posting in no more, right? I'm going to send you some maximums here. You don't want to post in any more than 20 groups a day, right? I would keep that at about 18, 19. And there's some other details behind the number you want to post in. And that is really, you can increase that number like I have by using tools and using Jarvee, but you still have to be smart in how you do it. And you can post in more groups than that by changing the text that you post and the image that you post, meaning that if you put the exact same verbiage and the exact same picture and you try to post that on Facebook in multiple groups, you're going to get to about 10, and Facebook is going to say, what are you doing? You can't post the same picture and the same message, in 10 different groups. And so you have to be able to change the text. You have to be able to change the image in order to post in a lot of groups without Facebook flagging you and putting you in what we all call Facebook jail. So I will tell you, I've been in Facebook jail more times than I care to admit. Even prior to using Jarvee, I've spent a lot of time in Facebook jail. I've tried to use social media posting softwares. I've tried to find, over the last 5 or 6 years, I've probably used dozens of them. Jarvee is by far the best that I've ever seen because it works really well and it does most all of them really well. So what I'm trying to say there is don't be afraid of getting put in Facebook jail. You want to avoid it because it slows your progress down, but there's no other harm in it than that, I would say, unless you get carried away and get repeated violations, then they may eventually ban your account. But I've never had that issue, and I don't know anybody who really has. Just, take it slow to start, and then you can increase it and work your way up. Let me also touch on finding the groups and joining groups to post in. So same thing there, guys. You can't join more than 20 groups a day. Or Facebook is going to tell you, slow down, partner. You're trying to join too many groups. And you guys may have experienced that. I don't know. And so you got to be real cautious within a 24-hour period. It's not day to day per se. It's kind of 24 hours. You can join about 20 groups. And I am, for months and months and months, I was a member of, I don't know how many groups, just lots of them, right? A couple hundred of them. And I wasn't joining groups anymore just because it just wasn't what I was doing. I have since started joining more groups so I can post in new groups that I haven't posted in. And right now what I'm doing is roughly every 24, 36, 48 hours, every day or two, I'll join 10 or 15 groups. And I will also say that I had mentioned in a previous video for the folks to join some of the smaller groups, the ones that you'll find a lot of groups out there that have 50, 60,000 people that there's a tremendous amount of posting in. But you'll find that there's already 1,400 founders, posting in that group. And so I can't even talk, sorry. I instructed everyone to start looking for some of those smaller groups, the groups around 6,000, 8,000, 10,000, and that are active groups and post in those. However, I will say that since I started looking for groups again, I have found lots of large groups that I wasn't aware of, or that I'm not a member of or whatever. And so long story short, just join as many groups, as large groups, small groups, whatever. Join as many as you can. As a matter of fact, that reminds me too, guys, I believe in the On Passive Vision Team Facebook group, I believe I've uploaded a Excel spreadsheet in there that has like 8,000 Facebook groups in it. You guys are welcome to get that resource and and you can get a list of groups there if you'd like. I'm also excited to say that one of the features that Jarvee has that I have not been using, but I'm going to really soon, is it also will find groups and auto join groups and auto unjoin. That's an amazing feature that I'm surprised that I wasn't aware of yet, or that I haven't implemented yet that I'm going to. So that's in tutorial video, I think 6 or something like that. It's pretty cool. I'm going to be implementing that pretty soon. Where was I at with all that? We were talking about Facebook limitations and trying to keep yourself out of Facebook jail. Oh, so Facebook jail, like I said, I've been into it lots of different times. Usually what happens, your first offense, they'll give you 2 or 3 days. If, and then if you get caught again within a month or so, they'll give you a week. And I think the longest I've ever been in Facebook jail is like 10 days or so. And boom, you're right back out and you're back in business again, right? And so don't be afraid of it, but you don't want to end up there because it slows your progress down. So, and that's what Jarvee does great, guys. That's absolutely what Jarvee does great, was it has all these internal settings that lets you post like crazy, but without getting, without raising any red flags, if you will. And so let me just scroll on down here. Daily, or delay all tools. This is what I was really trying to avoid, guys. I didn't want to sit here and kind of hem and haw and go through each one of these. I just wanted to show you my settings, and I will give that to you guys. I just don't have it right this second. What I am trying to do, though, is I want to scroll down here and see if I can pick out the important ones that I know I have set and that I think that we need to talk about. Yeah, so I don't necessarily have any issues with any of that. I believe what I was really looking for was, I thought there was a place to add in your description. So I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and see if this thing will sync up to my personal Facebook account. Yeah, I guess I'll do that one. I can't even type. Well, I'm going to have to go look at my password because I'm not sure what it is. That being said, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. You get to see Infinity screen there for a bit. Sorry about that. See if I can sync up to my Facebook account. That way I can show you from an account. And because when I was trying to set up the proxy earlier, I was kind of getting the indication because I didn't have anything set up that may have been part of the problem. What am I doing here? I thought I'd stop sharing my screen. Not quite yet, huh? Give me just 1 second here, guys. I got to pull a password, and I want to make sure I got the right one instead of trying 4 different times. Okay, so right now it's in the process of verifying the account, and it shouldn't take but a minute or so here. And once it does, and hopefully it will. I'm not sure if it will because it's already synced up with this account, and I don't know if that's going to cause any conflicts on Facebook side or Jarvee side, but we'll see. Guys, I apologize, man. It's 47 minutes into this webinar. We're just kind of getting into this stuff. So far, so good, guys, or y'all just wishing I'd get to the point? give me some interaction there in the chat. What do y'all think so far? Okay, so we got the account synced, which is good. Let me go ahead, and then that means it should have went ahead and synced all these groups, right? Let's go ahead and do that. Account is waiting for verification. I apologize. I thought it was done already. It says verified, not initiating once it's done. But once it's done, if it will sync, I hope it does, then it will automatically import, I don't know, a couple hundred groups that I've got, and the pages, it brings in everything. And at that point, and then we're able to kind of go through and start setting some stuff up. All right, really appreciate the support there, my man. I apologize. It kind of a little disconjointed, and like I said, I really wish I was just able to log into my other version, and you guys can copy the settings I have, checkbox by checkbox. That was my intent. Oh, and what I also really wanted to do was kind of show you guys everything I could inside my account today and setting it up. Now, it was going to be a little different because it's already set up, right? So I wouldn't be able to actually show you syncing my account and doing all the groups and all that good stuff. But what I was going to try to do is show you the best I could how to set it all up, show you my exact settings within the back office. And then what I wanted to do was to show you what I do to maintain it every so often. And what I mean by that was, right now, as soon as this thing, okay, cool. So it did become valid. I don't know. I'm trying to read that, but anyway. So here in a second, all these groups and stuff should start syncing. I'm not sure why they're not now. They usually do right away. Let me go ahead and check that box off. And it may or may not have anything to do with having a free trial account. I really don't know, but I would think that it would work just like everything else does. And so what I'm expecting to see here is the, several hundred accounts or groups that I'm a member of. And I'm not quite sure why they're not showing up yet. Maybe it just takes a second or two, or maybe it takes a little bit of time to import them all. But we're going to come back to that. Well, that's kind of the next step. As I said, there's not much to go on to past that. But so what I was saying though was, a few moments ago, I just said that, every so often I continue to add groups to it, or I continue to join more groups, and they will automatically sync with Jarvee, once Jarvee runs. But part of the process of using Jarvee is setting up what's called a destination list. And when you set up that destination list, you choose the groups that you want it to post to. And therefore, when you add more groups over time, then you have more groups that you can post to, and you may want to change your destination list and what groups that they post in, if that makes sense. So I'm still kind of hoping that this thing is going to populate. And for some reason, it is not. Maybe if I restart the software, I don't know. Let's see. Sorry for the old infinity screen there. Let's see what happens when we restart Jarvee. Maybe it'll. I can tell you guys too that kind of my biggest fear today was kind of letting you guys down and not being able to provide the value that I really want to provide to you guys. And so that was weighing on my heart and mind quite a bit doing this webinar. And not so, it was a little causing some anxiety, right? And then this morning at 11:30 when I lost access to that VPS and kind of the whole wheels kind of fell off and all that. Oh, cool. It says it's synchronizing, Rui. Thank you, sir. I'll go back and take a look at that in a minute. I guess I'm just rambling and giving it some time. I wasn't sure what to do, right? And so that's my biggest fear here, is not being able to provide you guys the value that I want today. And so long story short was, I'm going to do my best to give you everything I can today, and we can do another webinar next week or whenever we have to, guys. But we're definitely going to give you and show you the best I possibly can on how to set it all up. Yes. So it says there was an error in synchronizing this one for some reason. But I appreciate it, Rui, for pointing it out that it was saying that it was synchronizing. Okay, well, so what it's saying is there's an error synchronizing the number of followers, which basically that's my friends list in my personal account. And, you know, I be honest with you, I could care less if it syncs my friends, but I want to sync the groups to show you, but it doesn't seem to be doing that. See here, there's a way to force it to resync. I'm gonna restart and see what it does. Don't know. Let me also think about some other stuff that I may be able to give you guys here. Oh, so here's what I am going to do for you guys as far while we're waiting on that. One of the things that we can go into a few of the details while we're waiting is okay, cool. Beautiful. Maybe done now. Let's see. Oh, I apologize, guys. I thought y'all were looking at my screen. You're still looking at me. Let me share my screen with you guys again, and I'm still trying to see if it was going to sync, and it hasn't started syncing just yet, but it will. So I'm not sure. It's not quite syncing yet. It's not saying it's active anymore either, but I want to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and just move on. Maybe it'll work as we go, give it a little bit more time. But so basically once you sync your social account, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or any of them, doesn't really matter. Go ahead and read some comments real quick. James, you're welcome, sir. I'm here to help any way I can, man. That's the whole reason for this group, is to try to you know, train, mentor, help people. I'm getting value out of it too, and I certainly hope you guys are. And so that's the whole reason why I'm here, is to try to help anybody and everybody I can. So I want to go ahead and scroll on down real quick. So tools I don't use very often at all. Let me see what this is. Okay, so really what the tools thing is when you have more accounts, really Twitter and Instagram is kind of important in here. You can see how many people have followed, unfollowed, liked, retweeted, all that good stuff. Like I said, I don't use this very often because I'm not really doing Twitter and Instagram all that much yet. Global tools, let's see what this, give you a little bit of insight on what's here. Again, this is kind of Instagram and Twitter stuff. I don't really mess around with this a whole lot. Statistics, gosh, I wish I could log into my account to really show you. So there is some cool stuff in here that will probably be beneficial to go through real quick. Let me just kind of briefly go through it. Run Jarvee at system startup. So yes, if you're not on a VPS, if you're on a VPS, it's always running, right? Show tooltip when minimizing system tray, recreate desktop shortcuts at start, okay? Enable global find and replace. Nope, I don't mess with that. I don't do any RSS feeds, which I kind of want to get into eventually, but not yet. Enable auto restart Jarvee after a minimum of 12 hours. So Jarvee is awesome in the fact that it does its best to make everything it does look human-like. And because of that, you have a lot of different settings in here and that you can set up. And so essentially what Jarvee will do is Jarvee will wake up, if you will. It'll run a few tasks, do whatever it's got to do. Then it kind of goes to sleep for a little while, and then it wakes up again and does some more. And so This is saying it wants to restart after 12 hours. I've never had any issues with that. These are probably things that these are the standard settings that I'm sure that I probably just left as they are. Install new available updates between. So this is a good thing too. I remember leaving that like that because you want it, if it's going to be updating, you want it to be updating sometime in the middle of the night. Limit the number of records in any list. Limit the number of dashboard. No big deal there. Create. So guys, I don't think that there's anything else that I really messed with right here on this particular software settings tab. You're going to look at this next one real quick. Okay, so this embedded browser, Jarvee comes with a browser built into itself, and that's how it does everything, right? That's how it's able to do everything because it has its own built-in browser. And so let me see the settings here. Allow up to 15. This is just spooling. That's fine. I don't remember changing any of these. I don't think I changed any of that. Okay, I don't think there's anything super important that we need to change there either. Give them the social platforms. Okay, since we're on Facebook, let's look at Facebook. Wait a minimum of 24 hours before refreshing the friends list on Facebook. Okay, disable sync with new accounts. Allow sync to execute a maximum of blank Facebook accounts at the same time. Okay, yeah, you probably don't want to get too carried away with that. I mean, like right now, I've only got 3 Facebook accounts synced. You can do more, obviously, but this is basically saying that you want to limit it to 5 so you're not getting slapped in Facebook jail. So, I mean, there's probably more stuff to go through in all these, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest. I'm not going to do it because we're really focused on Facebook right now. We can come back and do stuff on all of those. I don't think you'll need any of that. Nothing really there. Now, I will say the reason, this reminds me, and that's kind of why I'm going through each one of these, guys, and I apologize, but the reason I'm going through each one of these is I'm seeing things that will remind me to tell you something. And so in this case right here, what I see down there is Instagram phone verification. I know this is about Facebook, but that's the main reason why I don't use it to do Instagram as well as it can yet. And that's one of the things I wanted to start doing here really soon is what prevents me from using Instagram the way it's supposed to be used is it continuously kicks me out of it because I have to verify my phone all the time, my personal cell phone, right? I'm not a big Instagram guy. I just opened up my Instagram account a couple months ago to use it with Jarvee. And so outside of that, I've never really used it. Long story short, what I'm getting at and what I'm about to do in order to use Instagram even more is kind of like the proxies settings that you're able to do. You can buy proxies to make Jarvee work better. Well, with the Instagram phone verification, you can also pay for a service. I don't know what it costs yet. I think it's $5, $10, $15 a month, but it will provide you a phone number or a series of phone numbers. I'm not quite sure, but it will essentially keep your Instagram account working good with Jarvee because it's able to do a phone verification automatically without you being involved in it. And so what I'm saying is, in order to use Instagram as effectively as someone could, that's a needed product right there. So if you ever want to use Instagram, you need to go ahead and do something to make sure you're getting your phone verified all the time. Error and backup. Now, I will say this too. This is something I learned a couple of months ago from Jarvee, that if for some reason you need to change it to a different laptop or computer or VPS or whatever, you can. Essentially what you do is you take a backup of this particular file and you can then upload it on the other machine, you can activate it, and then disable this one. Maybe that's a little bit out of order there because they won't let you put it on more than one machine at a time. It's all dependent on your license, right? Email notification is just where to get emails, right? I'd go ahead and check that. That way you will get an email. There you go. So that's important, right? Email notification. That way you'll get sent an email if there's ever any errors, or every day at the end of the day when it's completed all its tasks, it will send you an email saying, hey, everything is great, or there was an error with Instagram. You need to verify your phone, right? That's what I get every day. I don't think that let me go ahead and look through all these really quick. I would certainly change that. I don't want it at 3 a.m. I want it at a reasonable time, right? Yes. I think all of these are, I'd leave all of those. Yep, no issues there. Let's go to actions. I didn't mess around with any of that at all. Let's go to security. I didn't mess around with any of that at all either. So are there any questions, guys, on the settings? Before I move on, I want to make sure, and like I said, I wish I could just show y'all mine, but are there any questions? You guys have any questions on any of those settings? And I'll move on if not. Did one of you guys say that I get as long-winded as Ash? Am I thinking out loud? That's what I was just thinking. Man, I got carried away and been talking forever, and kind of like Ash. Ash can get carried away and talk for a while too, huh? So, guys, I'm assuming that there's no questions on any of these settings right now. And I will say this, as you guys go through it and start setting it up yourself, revert back to this video, of course, and hopefully here in the next day or two, I'll be able to share with you screenshots or a video or whatever that really has my other settings. I'm just not exactly sure how that's going to work out with the fact that everything I had on my server is gone. So I don't know what they're going to be able to do to recover that. And we'll have to figure that out. So with that being said also is if they aren't able to recapture my Jarvee setup and I have to set it all up again, well, then we'll do it together. How's that sound? Okay, so I don't know. I don't see any questions about the settings here. And so I'm just going to move on. The other part here would be the proxies, right? We already talked about those, and for whatever reason, I'm not remembering exactly how to activate these. I know that it's not as simple as entering in your port and IP address here, or proxy IP and port, that you actually have to do it with the IP authentication through HiProxy, and work with their support. They'll be able to help you get out or get that set up. So the My Account, that's where you find the the tutorials again, and then down here are the bottom two, and these are probably the most important. And so sorry to take an hour just to get here. So before you can do campaigns, you're going to have a destination list. In order for you to do a destination list, you have to have your social media profiles loaded, right? And so let's see if they have synced it all. Let's go to, and so when you're on your profile tab here, you'll have multiple ones listed most likely, right? But you just click on that account and that will take you to that account. I will also say that from time to time, there have been some times that I've needed to click on this action button here. Let me go ahead and do that and show you. And this was with, this was with Instagram, that this is how, sometimes you have to get in here and hit the browser embed, and that will like clear an error message, if I'm saying that right. So sometimes you may have an error. I would suggest if you have an error, you can reach out to me if you want, but I'd say go to support. And I had a support issue with an error message one time. They told me to come in here and do this browser embed, and that opened up Instagram where I was able to enter in my code, and then it worked again for a day, and then I had to verify my code again. But anyway, long story short, every now and again you may need to get into this action tab, but for the most part, You won't. You won't very often. But anyway, so if you click on the account here, and let's see if stuff started syncing, hopefully. I don't know if it is or not with, and I really don't know why that's the case. I mean, there's like 300 some odd accounts here. I mean, I don't know. I guess, guys, there's a possibility that has something to do with it being a trial account. I wouldn't think so, though. You'd think that they'd let you use it. I don't even know what this marketplace is. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me. So anyway, let me see if I'm looking for real quick. I know there's another way to make it resync again, and that's what I was kind of looking for. But Okay, let me see if I can move past this point. I don't think I'm going to be able to, though, because if I don't have any groups in here, I'm not going to be able to do a destination list, and that's the problem. Let me see. Create a destination list. Okay, so when you're creating a destination list, right? I don't know, for whatever reason, it's showing one there. That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, so when you create a destination list, again, you can name it whatever you want. I suggest you name it something that's beneficial for you. And so I don't know. I mean, for now, this is just my main Facebook account, right? And so that's what I named my original one. Nope. Unchecked group required. No. You can put a tag depending on, I would encourage you guys to organize it the best you can, if you will. And so depending on how you have it all set up, like I have all 250 groups listed, right? And when those groups are listed on here, I always sort by the highest members, and then I just kind of work down the list and go from largest to smallest, right? Because I want to be able to post my post in the largest, most active groups. And so right now I just have, like I said, 250, 300 groups, whatever it is, and I just sort them by size, and I start putting those on my destination list. However, you may want to organize it better than that, meaning, for instance, like I could separate it into, MLM groups. I could separate it into direct sell groups. I could separate it into affiliate marketing groups. I could separate it into just any different category I want, right? And then I could tag it here by, MLM groups or, whatever, right? I could just, basically I could sort it and make different destinations list based on the type of group if you wanted to. I mean, you don't have to. I didn't, but you could, right? So a long story short, you have a destination list here, and right now it's only showing one selected with no groups, and that's because they're not importing the groups yet. But it would normally say here that, you've got one account, you've gotten 250 groups, and you've selected 18 of them, right? Because you don't want to get carried away. You only want to post in a few groups. And so that's what you would normally do. You'd normally see there. And then once you have your destination list, which I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Oh, here's another thing about Jarvee. There's no save button. Here's tip number 2. No save button. Everything is saved automatically, which is good. But at the same time, until you know that, you're kind of scratching your head going, okay, well, how do I save this? That's tip number 2, man. There's no save button. It automatically saves. And anyway, so let me go ahead and try to move on. I really wish that I could have imported the groups and made a destination list here. And let's see as far as campaign goes, if this thing will work without, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and try to add a campaign here, even though we don't have a lot of what we need. Okay, so when this thing pops up, I've always had quite a few questions here. But the reality of it is every campaign that I've ever set up is under a standard campaign. So that's the only one I've ever used. Cool. Okay. So right here's where you change the name. I would definitely change this name. So eventually you're going to have multiple campaigns and multiple accounts running. And so try to come up with a nomenclature that makes sense for you and what you're trying to accomplish. I would, like I said, if I could show you mine, I would. However, I will tell you that I didn't understand the importance of trying to have good nomenclature and proper organization when I set it up originally. And so spend a few minutes and put some thought behind how you want to set up your campaigns and the nomenclature, how you name it, because it'll be beneficial later. I would show you what I have, but I can't. So what I did, so we've already created a destination list, and I called it my main Facebook account, right? And so I wanted to, well, so this is going to be my main Facebook account, campaign 1 or something like that, right? And just whatever, that's fine, okay, right? And that will change the name. You see that changed the name. Description right here, this is only for you. You can put whatever you want here. I mean, it's just, you know, something for you to remind you about this. If you have any tags you want to use, you can, okay? And so let's get into the setup. Enable signature to add a custom text to the end of your post. Absolutely. Well, and let me say this. Let me say why I say this. Is here's a little bit of insight too on a posting technique on Facebook. So when you post in all these groups, the absolute best and that you could do would be to get somebody to engage and interact with that post. And so you see people all the time posting on Facebook, whatever it is, an image, a video, whatever, they are enticing people to leave a comment, whether it's, you know, give them info or whatever they want them to say, just leave me a comment, right? And then you, at that point, you engage with people through a private message. And so by having people comment on your post is by far the best because it creates a viral effect, right? When someone comments on it, then, you know, a certain amount of their friends see it and yada, yada, yada. But so that's how you create the viral effect and to whatever degree you can. And that is going to get you better results or the best possible scenario for results. Now, when I originally started using Jarvee, I backed away from asking people to leave a comment for me to respond because I still work full time and I still doing my, you know, my local marketing thing and I'm just busy, right? I wanted to be able to respond to people right away and I knew I wouldn't be able to. And so I didn't want to ask them to leave a comment and it'd be 6 hours before I responded or something like that, right? And so I wasn't driving people to leave a comment, although I acknowledge that that's the best method if you can. And so I'll also say that something that I've wanted to do and just haven't quite implemented yet is setting up an automated chat bot, you know, in Facebook to where if someone comments on one of those posts that it engages them with a chat bot and then that chat bot would deliver my responses and my answers and ultimately drive them to the link to where they can register to become a founder. That is another perfect best case scenario. I haven't got that part set up yet. I'm still working towards that. But that's, if you can set something up like that, that would be phenomenal as well too. Okay. And then, so what's best after that, right? And so for me, what was best after that was posting images, which I've started doing videos now, but it was for me to drive people to a website. Now keep in mind when we first started this, we didn't have the GoFounders back office. We didn't have all those landing pages. We didn't have any of that. And so that's why I created my own landing page originally. And for that, and to also do paid advertising here in the near future. And so what I was doing was I was driving people to my own bridge page or landing page, if you will. And on that page, it was just a little bit of information. It was set up for really to do paid advertising and to be compliant with Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and all that. And on that page, there's also, you know, retargeting pixels. So once we launch, I'll be able to run some retargeting ads to everybody who's ever landed on that page. And so they go to that page, then they click a little button if they want more information, and that will take them to our GoFounders, one of our registration pages, right? And so that's what I've done. And let me say that earlier I was talking about how you can't post the same text and you can't post the same picture more than a couple of times and certainly repeat it a lot in Facebook, or they will, they'll put you in Facebook jail. They'll stop you from posting essentially. Well, that's the exact same thing for a link. If you post the same link over and over and over again multiple times, they're going to flag that link and they're going to make it not work in Facebook. And so that's part of what all of us Go founders jeopardize if we are posting our Go Founders link on Facebook, right? And there's 18, today we'll probably cross 19,000 founders. And even if a small percentage of those folks are posting that Go Founders link, it's not going to work for long. I can tell you that. Facebook's going to shut that Go Founders link down. So long story short, the point I'm saying behind all that, let me pull up in that PowerPoint presentation again because I had it in here and it's easy. So what I recommend is that you do something like this in your signature file. Now this is a domain. This is the domain I originally started using before I did the home business automation. And you see here, and this is my signature, right? And so what's important about this is I'm able to put a link in all those posts, but it's not an active link. If it was an active link, Facebook would block it. And so what I do here is I got a space after the dot, right? So it's the website dot space com. And then I just simply put in here, copy and paste the URL, but remove the space after the dot. And that way it allows me to put a URL in the signature, or basically in the verbiage of every post that goes out, without getting my link blocked. Okay, so that's the reasoning behind doing it this way. I mean, again, it's not ideal. I mean, somebody has to take a second step, right? They have to copy it. They have to paste it in their browser. They have to backspace that space out, and then they got the link. But it's also giving them the link without getting it blocked. You'll also notice that I started putting my domain name in the image itself or in the video itself. And therefore, that was also another way for me to get away from providing a link. I just had it in the image, right? And so they could see the domain in the image. If they wanted to go to that website, it's just right there. They can go to it, right? So that's the two ways that I got around being able to put a link in every post that goes out, and then also and just putting them in the image themselves. So sorry, that was a long way just to tell you about a signature, but it was all important. Let me scroll on down here. Oh, signature percentage. I bumped that up to 100. I didn't play around. There's no sense in messing around. If I'm going to put a signature, I want it in every one of them. Shorten all your URLs, post, account, configure settings. Nope. Enable, find, replace, post text. Nope. I would leave that. I don't mess with Pinterest, so it's no big deal to me. Okay, this right here is a super important one. I would definitely check it. Make images unique before they are posted. And I would come up here and put hard. Boom. So that's another super important part right there, guys. Remember, you can't post the same picture over and over and over again. Facebook will flag you. That button right there is what allows you to post the exact same picture in thousands of groups. Prior to me using the video, I had an image just prior to that, and then prior to that image, I had another image that I posted in probably 2,500 groups or 2,500 times in a few weeks, 5 weeks or so, 6 weeks. Same image, 2,500 times. Facebook had no problem with it, all because Jarvee does whatever they do in the background to make the coding of that picture look different. And so as far as Facebook's concerned, it's a different picture. So those are the only settings I have there, but let me go down here and check on this advanced settings. Okay, so this takes you to some of those settings that we had earlier, but let's go through these real quick too. Trigger a notification when there are posts on the list. No, I mean, there's no need for that. Trigger a notification when there are 5 posts in the post list. There's, 0 for disable. That's what I do. Disable that. You don't need that. Boom. Okay. Wait a maximum of 480 minutes for a post to finish on all destinations. Timeout state after that. Okay. Keep a maximum of 150 posts. Nope. I would increase the heck out of that. I would, as high as it'll let me. Only because I've had some post on Twitter and what have you that there's a button I'll show you in a minute where it allows you to put your post back in the bottom of your post list, and that way it just keeps on going forever and ever and ever. But if you don't have that button checked, or for some reason you don't, then you want to keep all your posts in your history so you can easily grab them again. Check RSS feed. I wish we had an RSS feed. We don't right now. Check monitor folders for images, videos. I wouldn't mess with that either. There's really nothing there to mess with. Automatically retry post. No. Okay, choose a single random image for post with multiple images. What I'll show you is I haven't uploaded multiple images per post, and so there's no need to check that. I just upload another post with a different image. And so you can, I guess you could instead of having multiple posts, you could have one post with multiple pictures, and I don't know. I wouldn't mess with any of that. Just leave it like it is. I'm not using it. Wait to start a new post if you have more than blank in active history. I have no idea what that's asking. I don't know why you'd wait to start a new post if you have active ones in history. We have to circle back around to that one. I definitely need to check on that to see what kind of setting I have in my other settings. Cool. Okay, I think that's that for general. Let's go and look on Facebook here real quick. Disable clickable image post when posting images. Link on Facebook pages. I'm interested in trying that. I'd like to do a clickable image. I haven't done that yet, but I'm interested in that. Right now I'm going to leave it disabled because I'm not doing it. But it would be nice to be able to have an image in Facebook and someone touch the image and it takes them to the website automatically. Be interested to see if that does. I've noticed sometimes in Jarvee it doesn't. It just shows like I'm posting it, and then sometimes it shows some weird name. I mean, it still has my name, but underneath it says posted via or something like that. I'm wondering if that would remove that. I'm gonna double check into that a little later too. So I would increase this right here too. I mean, I say that. So anytime I join a group, the groups I try to avoid are the buy and sell groups, which I want to figure out a different way to approach those because there are a lot of large groups, a lot of activity in those. But I have found when you join those groups, they typically have a lot of questions, and they're not as easy to get accepted into, and they're not always willing to accept you blasting, your advertisement over it all the time. I acknowledge that there are lots of buy and sell groups that I'd like to be a member of and posting in. I just haven't figured out how to do that just yet. So for right now, I avoid all the buy and sell groups. I'm not in them at all. Oh, but so back to this point, if I decided to get into more groups, well, so now that I understand or have a little bit better, now that I want to start using Jarvee to also find and join other groups, this right here is telling me that it's going to allow 10 posts in groups requiring admin validation. So, I mean, if I started, I guess you could be part of a group that every post has to be approved by an admin. And if that was the case, I wouldn't be part of the group anyway, right? I don't want that or need that. So I'll leave that alone for now. I'll look into that a little bit more, but leave it alone. Remove link preview, skip image upload, enable auto hashtag. I would be interested in that auto hashtag. I'd need to know a little bit more about it, but hashtags certainly get a lot of traffic. This right here has something to do with those buy and sell groups and your locality and all that. So I don't really mess with that at all. Okay, cool. So those are the only settings I'm going to go through is the general and Facebook. These other ones will be for another time, possibly. Let me go ahead and close out of that. Okay. So that's pretty much it. There's really nothing else there on the overview of setting up that account, right? And like I said, there's no save button. So then what to publish? So then this is where you actually assemble the post that's going to post, right? And so this would have been really beneficial for me to show you guys inside the other account because I could very simply come over here to post list, and there would have been, hundreds of posts here that I could have just clicked on and showed you. However, maybe it's not so bad. So this is where you get to see using spin text content. So are you guys, just to see if I haven't put y'all to sleep yet, are y'all still with me? And how many of you guys are familiar with spinning text or spin text? I'm going to go ahead and pause and give you guys a second to answer that. Anybody? Anybody familiar with spin text or why you would need to do it? All right, I can see in the background there. You see there's still 6 of y'all here. All right, so I'm going to take that as no. Nobody's familiar with spin text? I'm here. I hear only spinner in the pig commercial. That's funny. Yes, indeed. Yes, familiar. All right, Rory. Anybody else? All right, cool. Let me show you what it's spinner for. So remember earlier when I was telling you guys that you can't post the same text and the same picture and the same link in Facebook groups, multiple times, or they'll stop you, and then eventually they'll ban you or put you in jail. And so there is, you have to change the text in every post, right? Well, if you got to set up in an automation tool, you have to have that particular software tool has to have the ability to change the text up. So every time it posts, it's posting something a little bit different, just a slightly different variation of the verbiage. That way it's not exactly the same as the other 14 times you just posted, right? So in Facebook or anybody's eyes, it's unique text. And so Facebook won't flag it as being, duplicate content or that you're trying to post the same thing over and over and over again. So there's a handful of spinning tools out there that I've used over the years. And Ruri actually mentioned the best one on the market there, Spin Rewriter. And I still have an account with Spin Rewriter. I think I pay $59 a year for that or so. And there's one that's a little bit older than that. Ruri's probably familiar with it. No one else probably. The Best Spinner. I've never really used that one because I got involved with using spinners right about the same time Spin Rewriter launched. And so Like I said, I still maintain an account with Spin Rewriter, but I really only use it probably 3 or 4 times a year. And I mean, the thing about a spinner is when you figure out you need one, you really need one. Otherwise, it just sits there and kind of collects dust. But Rui is right, man. Spin Rewriter is by far the best on the market. Now, what I'm about to show you is a free method. And for the purpose that we're using, this free method is all you need. I mean, there is absolutely no reason for you to use anything other than what I'm about to show you. And by the way, I did post a link to this free tool in the Facebook group earlier. And so you guys can see it on your screen here. It's right here. And I'll see if I can post this in this thing. But there's a link in the Facebook group. Oh, and you see, I was trying to move to my other screen, which is on a different laptop, so that's not going to work. So that is the best free spinner that I am aware of. Sorry, guys, I'm getting stuck here on what I'm trying to do. So I guess let me just go ahead and go to that website real quick. So the thing about this particular spinner is, unlike the ones that Rui and I were talking about, the Spin Rewriter and the Best Spinner, those are automated, have APIs and all kind of stuff, and those are really meant to do an entire article, and they serve a little bit different purpose than what we really need for what we're doing here. And so what's really cool about this, and I'm just going to grab some text here just to show you guys. And so right before this webinar started, I had someone come through, so I sent them, the email that we always send. And just let me grab this text right here. I'm just going to kind of show you guys what I'm talking about. This is probably not the best example, but to speed it up, that's what I'm going to do, right? So you can either copy and paste some of the text that you see other founders using, or if you want to create your own, you can. But anyway, you want to get a little paragraph, right? It could be something like that. And I will say, I think I got something pulled up here. Yeah, I mean, I will say that these are some of the older texts. Like I used to, I still use these, quite a bit actually. What am I doing? Go back. I will say this as I'm trying to get set up here to show you guys, that the text you see that I post with all of my Jarvee posts all over Facebook, I need to do exactly what I'm showing you with right now. So that text, I don't know, I created that a long, long time ago. And then when I updated Jarvee a while back, I changed it some, but I'll be really honest with you. I'm not crazy about what it says or how it says it every single time. And so I fully admit that I need to go through all of my settings and do exactly what I'm about to show you again, right? So anyway, the reason I'm showing you this is because it helps you spin your content and makes it unique for your post. And so really what you do is you just paste whatever content you want in here and hit Launch Assistant Spin Editor. And when you do, it's going to help you spin your text. So for instance, like right now, you see it has the word highlighted. And so what are synonyms for I mean, you could put in there like we. See, I forget exactly if we have to. Oops, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I hit the wrong button there. But anyway, so we sure. Let me see real quick. We sure. So we, sorry guys, that was a bad example, right? So we doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense there because it's the next word. So I'm sorry, it's a bad example. Let me go backtrack a little bit. Okay, so let's go ahead and skip that one altogether. I'm sure You could put I imagine, or it's just whatever, right? I'm sorry. Look, this is amazing to me because this is exactly what I was doing. You don't have to, this is why this tool is so cool. I don't need to sit here and come up with words. You just come down here and you click on them. I'm sure, I'm certain, positive, confident, absolutely sure. See what I mean? It will pick out the word. It will help you. And then you just click next spin. And it goes to the next part of the spin. We can be changed with we are able to. You can easily. I mean, see, long story short, what I'm getting at is this is a really good tool to help you spin your context. You're doing it manually versus other tools that will do it automatically, but it's still not all that difficult, right? And so, now at this point, I'm just kind of rambling and choosing and picking stuff. But essentially what you want to do is be able to go through this, relate to, connect with, relate with. I mean, whatever. Long story short is you're just picking out different variations of what you're trying to convey here. But what you also need to be able to do is spend some time going through this because you're going to want to make sure that each variation makes sense. And so I will say, Rui, you've got Spin Rewriter? Bro, I'd use that, right? You're certainly welcome to use that to see how many different variations it'll spit out for you. However, if you don't have that paid tool, this is by far the next best thing. There's lots of spin creators out there, but none of them give you the suggestions like this one does down here. And right, so you can just come through here and go through the whole thing. Now, I will say that once I got down here, I'm going to try to get down here to the reason I stopped using this text right here in those posts is because I found when I tried to spin that, it didn't make sense anymore. And I also didn't want to post that same thing over and over and over again, thousands of times. And so I eventually just eliminated it from the text I put. But a long story short, guys, is, I mean, you guys can create whatever you want to say here, and then you just need to create some spin text so you have different variations of it. And then essentially what you do, once you're done with all that, I'm just going to take some of this stuff out because it's just there so I can make the point. Oh, I can't even take it out now. You have to do that before you paste it in there. But I wanted to make the point of why I don't use this text, spin this text, because what are you going to spin it to, right? It's just hard. So spend some time, figure out, make sure it all kind of makes sense in every different variation. And then you just copy it, right? And come back over to Jarvee and you paste it in here. And you will see that it has all the spin text here. And so it'll post once and it'll say, I'm sure. Right? And then the next time it'll say, I'm certain. Right? And then so it just changes it up. Guys, are there any questions at all about spin text? I mean, I can go into more detail, I think. But that's pretty much what you want to do. You just want to, have, a few sentences here, maybe a paragraph, and you want to have it spun to where it makes sense every single time that it comes out. So I'm going to pause here for just a second to see if you guys need me to spend any more time on that. And if not, then we can just move right on. Cool. All right, James. Awesome, sir. So I got my text in here. Let me go ahead and you can either upload a photo or a video. And if you're doing a video, the one I've uploaded now I think is about 2 minutes long. So I wouldn't try to upload, a 30-minute video. It's not going to work, or a webinar or anything like that. It's just too big. I would try to say a couple of minute video. And then so here's another cool thing about Jarvee that I have not started using it just yet for. And that is you can do bulk uploads, meaning certainly with Twitter is easier. I haven't figured out how to do it yet for Facebook or Twitter for that matter, but you are able to have an Excel spreadsheet or a file, and you can just bulk upload images or post or whatever. I haven't quite figured that out yet, but I want to. For now, let me just go ahead and show you how to add an image and a video, I guess. So upload from my computer. And let me see here. Oh, not sure why I'm under keywords, but I'm not even sure. It's nice. I had everything on that virtual private server, and so when I come over here, I'm kind of lost. But anyway, we will find something really quickly. Home business automation, graphics. It doesn't matter. Let's just use any of these, right? So boom, so you upload a picture there, and you hit add photo. And then you got to hit right here, add post list. Okay, that's it. I don't really mess with any of this other stuff. I never have. It's just add post list. Okay, so that one's there. And then, again, there's no save button, right? So you come to post list, and you'll see that post is there now, right? So let me come back. And what you would do is you would paste in that exact same text, right? Because it's all spun text, right? You paste in the exact same text. This time I'll upload a video if I can find it. I'm just going to do this video here because I know it's short and I know that it's okay. So there, the video's uploaded, and again, you just come down here and you do post or add to post list. Well, I tell you what, I'm glad I thought about downloading a trial version of this today, so I could at least show you what I'm showing you now, because otherwise I don't know what I'd have been able to do. Anyway, so now you see we got 2 posts in there. And so what I suggest is that you upload dozens. I mean, I think I've got, well, in the several different Facebook accounts, I mean, I think I've probably got only maybe 20 or 25 posts in each one. And I'll explain more about some details here in a minute. But but the thing about it is, what you see on mine is I have maybe 3 or 4 sets, or let me say this right. I have 3 or 4 different variations of the verbiage. Each one of those variations having its own spin text, right? And so I really have 3 or 4 groups of spun content, and I will alternate, what spun, if I have 25 posts, then maybe 3 or 4 will have each spun content, right? And that way, pretty much, every 3rd or 4th post it's always different within each. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It just continues to spin the content, and you're also getting more spun content. But what you will see in mine is I have the same video. Every single one is the same video now. And so it's only posting that same video, but it is posting different text. Like I said, I'm not crazy about, but that's what I got now. And so that's it. I mean, you can add in here as many as you want. Oh, and so what I do when I was uploading multiple different pictures, there's an example of my logo inside the image again. Remember I was talking about that earlier? Every now and again, I will shuffle the post, right? When I'm posting the same image, it doesn't really matter. But when I had different images, at one point in time, I had all 58 of those company provided banners in there and was posting all of those. And quite honestly, I found some of the banners that we used prior to having those worked better. So I went back to using some of the other ones. But here's a very, very important tip that you want. And that is right here. Under post list, re-add published post to the end of your post list. You definitely want to make sure that is checked. And the reason being is it recycles your post, right? If you got 25 posts, once it posts them, they go to history. And once you post your 25 posts, then you're done. However, if you check this box, then it just recycles them and continues to post over and over and over and over again. So that's a very important box to check there. So let's go back to what to publish. Eventually, I'll learn how to do some of this bulk stuff. I have messed with it before and kind of gave up on it. But anyway, so where to publish. Let's go on to where to publish. So right here, basically, it is recognizing that I got this one destination list. So you just click that destination list, and it would go there. Now, you eventually will have multiple accounts, right? Whether multiple Facebook accounts, I don't know, 1 or 2, or maybe just 1, but you'll have Facebook. And because this tool does Twitter and Instagram and all the other ones, you might as well use it for that, right? So you'll have multiple accounts. You'll have multiple different destinations lists, right? So you want to choose the right one. When to publish. Okay, so this gets really important here. And guys, when you start out, I mean, like right now, mine are still at 2. And I'm posting 140 groups a day, and that's with 2. Now, I would adjust this. Now, you can play with these times however you want. You know, I've played with them a little bit, trying to have it post during my own time zone, you know, when I was available to respond to stuff. And so you can do that. I think now I've got mine set pretty much where it's pretty much almost all day, because I found there were people all over the world in some of these groups. And so I believe now I just got to go in all day at random times. And there's some, let me read this real quick. So I wouldn't do any more than 2, right? Certainly not to start. I may start increasing mine. I have played with mine in the past. I've increased this number before and ended up in Facebook jail. So you don't want to do that, especially when you're starting. Let me see what we got here. So you could click on that. That'd give you more flexibility, right? If you want it to make it look more human-like, you're able to come in here and adjust it if you want. I don't. Randomize publishing times each day. Yes, I think I do that. I know I do that. Randomize the number of posts each day. Yes, I do that too. Okay, post between 1 and 5 per day. Increase each day with blank until it reaches blank. Okay, between 1 and 5 posts per day. Increase 1 per day until you reach 18. Again, you don't want to be going over 20 or so there. So keep it low. And to start, guys, you probably want to, I'll eventually be able to take some screenshots and show you guys, but these are important settings so you're not getting yourself in trouble. You see here, publish a post list item on all selected destinations. Sure. Random sleep times when publishing. Yeah, you can. anything on here to make it look more natural, absolutely. Campaign has a start time, campaign has an end time, wait around 120 seconds before the same list. Heck, I don't know. I'd have to really see what my setting is, but, whatever you can do, put it this way. What I have found was, and I'll tell you the story too, when I very first started using this software, I synced it up. I think at the time I had 179 groups. I synced them all up. I just started posting. I think I tried to post in like 70 of them or something, and got instantly, like the next day I was in Facebook jail. Said you can't do that, right? And so I just spent a week or so there, and then I learned to break it up, and to where I wasn't trying to post in so many groups. And so here's my point behind all that. Especially when you start out, but even after you've been using it for a month or two, it's always better to keep it dialed back a little bit in order for the automation to work than to try to push it and test it and get yourself in Facebook jail and sit there for a week with no productivity, right? So I always err on the side of less post with longer sleep times, longer intervals in between. Certainly when you're new, you need to really maximize that. But after a month or two, you can move it up some, but you still need to be very cautious, because I want the tool to work. Anytime I get my account blocked, well, then I'm sitting there for a week with no productivity. So I'd rather have it work. I'd rather it just work than me try to push the issue, I guess. Long story short, I do it all days of the week. And so that's pretty much it. As far as that goes, drafts. I've never really messed with drafts, post lists, okay, and then history, okay. So that's that. Now what I want to do, guys, is get into some tips and tricks of what I've learned using it over this time, and that is to say, there's lots of things to say. I'm not even sure where to start, but I'm gonna start with destination list. Let me see if I want to start there or not. So I got profiles. Okay. And I really wish this thing would sync and I could show you guys what I do. Post has been added. Okay, so usually what happens once you do, let's come back to it. Let's see if it's done anything. Probably not, because earlier we're still saying 1. Okay, so most of the time what you'll see here is you'll see a list of all your groups, right? There'll be whatever, hundreds of groups. And you'll see, like right here it says users. So you can sort by that. You just click on that and you get to the top, right? All the larger groups will come to the top. And then so what I do is I go through, and you can't just auto select them all. You got to kind of read them and make sure that they're what you want to post in. Speaking of that, once you sync your list of groups here, there will definitely be some you don't want to post in, I would imagine, right? You may have some Facebook groups that aren't related to OnPassive or even online marketing. Who knows what they are? They could just be anything else. They could be groups that you're a member of that you're not allowed to post advertising in, right? And so what I would say, first of all, is go through the list that sync and find all the ones that you don't want to post in, and check them as you go down the list, right? And then once you're done, you can come over here and you'll send all of those that you don't want to post in to the select to ignore. That way you'll never send a post to a group you don't want to, right? So that's important, that you're not sending it to groups you don't want, right? And then the second part is I go through here. I would honestly recommend that you guys start out small. Start out with 3 or 4 groups in a destination list. Increase it slowly over time until you're up to the numbers that I'm talking about. And I would literally start at 3 or 4, give it a couple of days, go to 5 or 6, give it a couple of days, go to 7 or 8, and eventually work your way up. I will tell you that I have 3 Facebook accounts synced: my personal one, my business one, and then I also have just I guess it's a fake account. I don't know what you want to call it. It's a Facebook account I created a while back to do some stuff with that now I use for this. Because and by far my personal Facebook group is the one that I have the most, that I'm a member of the most groups in. And so what I ended up doing was creating multiple destination lists out of that. And what I mean is, so I will sort them by the largest to smallest, and then I will simply choose them, right? And just whichever ones are a good fit, I select them. 1 through, I may end up going through like 1 through 25, but I'm only going to select maybe 18 of them. That's where I'm at now. I'm able to post in about 18 groups per destination list per day. Like I said, don't start there. You'll get in trouble. And so what I do is I'll go through and I'll choose whatever the first 18 in that destination list, and that will be my I will create a destination list with those first 18, right? And then I'll come back in to create a second destination list. And that destination list, I will, wherever I stopped at, right? Out of that first 25, I chose 18 of them, right? And so for whatever reason, I didn't want the other 6. But anyway, long story short, I start on 26 now, and I'll go down 26 to whatever number I end up on, but I'll choose another 18 that I want to post in. And that will become destination list number 2. And then I'll do the same thing. Whatever number I stopped on, I'll go down until I select another 18 groups. And that will become destination group number 3. And same thing with 4 and so forth until you run out of groups, right? Because I think at about 4 is where I run out of groups that I want to post in with that particular account. And so that's what I do, is I create multiple destination lists with my account, and then I have different campaigns set up running to multiple destination lists, if that makes sense. Okay, so, and then I'll do the same thing for, now when it comes to the other Facebook accounts that I have, my personal or my business Facebook account, and then for lack of a better term, the fake one, I'm not a member of all of the same groups that I am in my personal one. I am in several are the same, but not all of them, right? And quite honestly, in both of those other accounts, I'm probably only a member in, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 groups, something like that. And I need to add a lot more groups in those accounts so I can post to more of them. But let me take a drink of water real quick. Dry mouth over here. Been talking for 2 hours. Guys, man, I'm glad y'all are still with me. We're going on 2 hours here. Let me see. I'm trying to move my screen, see if we still got some folks with me or if I'm talking to myself. Heck, I don't even know how to check. All right, guys. All 6 of y'all are still with me. Y'all are amazing, man. Y'all deserve a lot of credit for hanging out for 2 hours with me so far. We're probably getting pretty close to being done, guys. We'll probably wrap this up here in the next 10, 15, 20 minutes, unless y'all have me rambling for more, which I tend to do, it seems. Certainly be ready to answer and ask any questions. Let's go and take a look at that real quick, see what we got. Thank you for sharing, but have to run. Yep, I'll reach out. Facebook, thanks again. Yep, I appreciate it, Rui. Sorry, man, it's been 2 hours. Appreciate you staying as long as you have, sir. Let me get back into where we were, just to kind of be respectful, try to be respectful for everyone's time. So that's kind of how I do my destination list, right, as far as how I break it up. And then when it comes time to do the campaign, then I just choose the destination list that I want it to go to. And I guess what I'm trying to get back to the point of is what I do every now and again. What I'll do is I update my destination list because I continually join more groups and I need to update the list. And so that's what I do. I just update the list. And then I go through the exact procedure that I just mentioned about how I go from the largest to the smallest and create different destinations with them. So I tell you what, guys, please, if you got any questions, please start getting your questions prepared because I am going to, I guess, wrap it up here unless you guys got any questions to ask. I'm realizing we've been going 2 hours now. I don't want to just abruptly end it. I want to kind of get back to where I was and finish up that last thought I was on, which I was going over destinations. I was going to talk about the tips and tricks and stuff that I've learned over time using it. And so that was one of them on how to create your destinations. This is important too. Cool. I'm glad I thought of this. So once you create, right, once you create your first campaign that has, all the posts in it, this is going to save you guys a ton of time. Check this out. Once you have that first campaign created, which, right, you can always come in here and you can go to details. Right here, details is how you get back to where we were, right? This is where you were setting it all up. You can come into post list. I mean, just everything is right in here. This is everything, right? But the cool part is, and so all these, remember I was telling you how I use the same text, it's just spawn. I use the same photos over and over again. Here's the cool part. Let me get to the point. Is you don't have to do all that again. Once you do it, you just come over here and you hit clone. And it will copy that entire campaign. All your posts, everything is there. Now, the only thing you have to do is you have to come in here and hit detail and change where to publish, right? You want this to go to destination list number 2. Now, I've only got one destination list in here, but had I created multiple ones, then I would simply be able to choose destination. I got to choose the campaign, right? So I created a clone of that campaign, and this is where it gets kind of tricky because you got to keep in mind what your clones are here. But I thought that I could change the name there. I believe at some point you can. I'll have to figure that out. And then you would have multiple destination lists chosen right here. Then in this case, I would just choose destination list number 2. And then that whole campaign, this second one here would be going to campaign 2. I would come up here and clone it again and set that to destination 3. Clone it again, that would go to 4. And that way you're not having to do double work setting all these up, and you're able to use the exact same post in all those groups. And that's the fastest way that I've been able to find to be able to post everything you want to post in all the destination lists. So I'm trying to think if I have any other last minute tips and tricks to tell you guys. And there's certainly a lot more to go into detail for. James, I've got to run. Thanks, enjoyed it. And I know when I see it in a few more times, I'll start to get the hang of it. Thanks. James, you're welcome, sir. Appreciate your time. And I look forward to seeing you again, too. So with that, guys, I know we've had a couple of people that need to drop off because they've been here for 2 solid hours. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen there. I'm going to come back in here and come to here. And I'm going to simply ask if you guys have any questions or have any comments, or if there's anything else, whether it's Jarvee related or anything. If you guys have any questions about anything else, now's the time to ask. You've got a chat box there that I'll respond to, and if you'd like, if you got a microphone, you're welcome to turn your microphone on up there in the top right, and we can talk. But either way, guys, I'll stay here as long as you guys want, as long as there's questions or comments or what have you. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and click on over here real quick and see. So, Judy, thank you very much for staying with us for 2 hours. And Steve and Ken, you too, guys. Did you guys get any value out of this today? Can y'all give me some feedback real quick? Yes, no? Stop rambling so much and get to the point. Make this an hour webinar instead of 2. Anything? Okay, guys. Well, if there are no more questions, heck, as far as I know, you guys just have your computer on and have stepped out of the room. So it seems to be pretty silent. I appreciate it as always. And you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend. God bless, and talk to you guys soon.